Hey everybody, welcome to Mammoth Interactive's YouTube channel. First of all, I want to thank you for watching this video. And remember that this channel doesn't do Patreon. Instead, we sell our digital courses down below. And every single dollar that we get from the products you buy below goes into making more content. The best way to help out this channel and Mammoth Interactive is to subscribe to Mammoth Interactive's huge library of content. Get thousands of hours and hundreds of courses for a low price down below. We have a monthly option and a yearly option. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the video.
Welcome back, everyone. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to add in the laser cube, or basically kind of the mesh of the laser, to the actual project here. Now, there's a couple things that we have to do. We do have to export something from Blender, so Blender's a free program if you don't already have it. And all I'm going to do is export the FBX. Now, I do have a folder here that basically I usually put in all of my exports here, and I just have it as cube. I've already done this, so I'm just going to export it again, and it should work. So let's hop back into Unreal here, and let's go ahead and let's import it. So I have my folder ready here. Let's go to the cube here. Now this is the most important part here. Now see where it says import translation? Normally it would be 0. It has to be 100 on the X, and I'm going to make this very clear in just a second, but it has to be 100. And then we're just going to import that here. And all I'm going to do is drag out this here. Now, if you look at this here, it looks like this here, this origin of the object is at the side. This is critical to making things work. If you don't do this right, like if you look at this cube here, the origin's somewhere in the middle, not on the side. This is critical for making this work here. Okay, so I'm just going to do something really quick here. I'm just going to hop into this material here. We have a nice parameter here. I'm just going to give it a nice red color, right? And just maybe put it as red. That doesn't really matter. Push OK. Or pink. It doesn't matter really. I'm just going to save it. It always takes a little bit longer than I want it to, but we'll eventually turn that into something that's a little bit more laser-like in the future. But for now, let's go back here so we kind of know what our cube is. Okay, so let's just kind of delete that for the moment here. And what we need to do is we need to go back into our first-person character and add this to our viewport. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to, under the FPS gun, and we might as well add in the under the sphere here, we're going to add in a static mesh. Okay, and we're going to call this laser. Okay, and in that laser, what actually, yes, we do have to do it this way. And we're just going to call this. Actually, you know what? Let's hop back into here, and we'll call this laser cube. So that way we know exactly what it's called. That way we can type in laser cube, and here we go. Now it's huge at this point in time, and if you really wanted to, you could. So I'm just going to drag this down here. And really, for the most part, it doesn't matter how big it is for now, just because, we can tweak that later here. But I think that's probably pretty good. Let's go ahead and compile that. Let's just see if everything works here. And, as you can see, nothing really changes here. If we really wanted to, though, we could maybe make the X bigger. And this is, by the way, let me illustrate why this is so important here, okay? So the line trace, and what we're going to do is it's going to figure out how or how long it is to the wall, and then it's just going to set the X of this to the wall. That's really all it's going to do, okay? And as you can see, if we didn't make this pivot on the side of the mesh here, this would be scaling in both directions. And if it is scaling in both directions, you've done something wrong here, okay? So let's just go ahead and let's just actually make it a little bit bigger, just so that we can kind of see it right now. And I think, you can kind of see it at the end here. Let's just, for debug purposes, let's just make this bigger than what we want it to be, okay? So, and you can probably already see that we're going to need to make some other adjustments as well. But let's just get it working first. And the way that you should make software is you get it working first and go on from there. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we are going to set relative 3D scale. And actually, I think we can just do, let's just do the mesh here. Now that's not quite, yeah, actually this is the one that we want. But we need to split the struct pin, okay? And let's delete the mesh here, and let's drag out the laser here, or get the laser, drag it out here. So we're going to be setting the laser here. Now, all we're going to do is we're going to get the distance to the wall and plug it into the X, okay? The other thing that you have to do is, let's just click on this laser here. Find the scale of the Y and Z axis, which is, in this case, let's just make it 0.14, just to make it easy. And then what you have to do is you have to go back in here, 0.14, 0.14. Okay, and you have to do that step here. And as you can see, look at that. So problem is somewhat solved. All right, so we basically are going to the wall here. And we know that because we can actually move these here. And actually, this is, believe it or not, a little fun game here, right? There is collisions there. Okay, so now that we have that, we can do a little bit. You can see that it's coming out of this, you know, not quite straight. So if we make this straight, it's a little better, right? It's a little better. Now this is a bit of a problem here, is because the crosshairs are not technically at the same angle as the gun. So we need to kind of even move it just a bit more this way. And, you know, and there we go. We can kind of see that that's there. And for now, the reason why this isn't working the way we want it to is because the gun is angled at a very specific angle. But this, you know, it's looking fairly good. We'll talk about that soon. But let's see if we can disable the collisions. Okay, right? And if we disable these collisions, then we will be able to. This is actually kind of fun here. You can play around with this here. But we need to disable the collisions within the laser here. And it's very simple. All we need to do is go down to the collision here and do no collision. All right, and that way you can basically set this up here. Now, you can see here that technically the laser is. You can see here that it's technically working here, but we don't technically want this to be. We don't technically want this to be a laser where we can just fire it all the time. Okay, we want this to be a little bit different here. We want it to make sure that when you fire it, it ends up using the laser. All right, and I'll do that in the next tutorial. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.